Okay, it's 6:30. I'd like to call the meeting to order.
We're not standing up.
Right in.
Work session.
I just want to stand for the pledge. Come on, let's stand. I don't think there it is. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Paul, just make a note that Councilman Brungard is absent. New business. City Hall repairs and improvements due to the storm on both the 4th and the 11th of July. The City Hall, Police Department, and Community Center suffered water damages. While evaluating the building's condition, staff began discussing various updates to the building. Following bids were received. Recarpeting the building by Seaford's $35,927.20. Repaint City Hall interior. Swan Paint bid $36,615. Infex painting $15,000. To repair the drywall damage, replace ceiling tiles, and upgrade the entryways. JF Denny bid $45,338. And a recaulk and reseal the windows, basals $4,262. And then Ronco Construction General Contractor is a general contractor. He bid $160,000. I guess that was total for all of them. So we need a motion to approve the bids plus 10% contingency from Seaford's for $39,519.92. Intex Painting for $16,500. JF Denny for $49,700. $49,871.80. Basils for $4,699.20 for a total of $110,590.92. Motion for that. Let me repeat that. Need a motion for the approval.
Don't move.
I have a motion. I have a second. Any discussion?
Yes.
Okay. Stan.
Where's the facing the roof and all this?
Thank you.
The roof. In my
Yeah, so I was going to go through a presentation and
Okay.
kind of touch on that. Just briefly though, spoiler alert, the roof is fine. We had the company that installed the roof look at it. We had the insurance company look at it. They said the roof is fine. So the drain on this one, the drain was clogged. So the water got so high, it seeped in through the roof vents. And you'll be able to see that on some of the later photos. But so from the 2 inspections we've had, the roof is suitable. There's no issues. I guess we can kind of hop in here. So this is what Jim, our maintenance guy, kind of walked into that first day. Again, the drain was plugged, so the water was getting several inches high with nowhere to go. And normally Jim goes up there every few weeks, and I know a lot of times he'll take a leaf blower up there and blow leaves off. But I think in this instance, if I remember correctly, like there were pretty heavy winds. And so I think the winds knocked off a bunch of leaves that helped clog the drain. Next photo. That's another one. You can see a bunch of ceiling tiles fell down. It was to the point where it really wasn't safe for most staff. Next photo. So that's what it looked like that first morning. You can see it kind of pooled up there. No hail, no anything like that, no tears or anything like that. Just the drain was plugged, so the water had nowhere to go.
Where's the drain in that picture?
So in this one, I don't think you can see it. It would be behind the air conditioner on the left.
In the corner?
Yes, in the corner, yeah. And quite honestly too, that's one of the other things that we kind of voiced frustration about, like, had the design of the building, had the drains be more on the edge of the building, there's things we could do to kind of make it a little bit better, but the drain is right in the middle of the building. So then when the water drains, it goes through City Hall. So it kind of a quirk of the way it was designed all these years.
So it drains to the walls?
In the ceiling, it kind of drains kind of by the utility billing area and then goes south.
Across the ceiling?
Yes.
And then down?
So it's almost, think of it like almost having gutters inside your house. Like didn't make a lot of
Drain
sense.
into a pipe,
What's that?
there's like an open shutter on the inside.
It's like a white PVC pipe.
No,
Okay, it is.
It's inside the building.
Yes.
Yeah, it's inside the building.
So anyway, that's the first instance. And then if we want to go to the next one. And then 1 week later, same thing happened on the police side, except this was caused by an interior plug. So you can see exact same thing happened. So a lot of the insulation is waterlogged, carpet's waterlogged. Next photo. Next photo. So yeah, really not safe for staff to be there at that point. Also, I will say too, so we had ServPro come out, they did the immediate remediation. I think that was around $13,000. So that was something that we just had them do. But yeah, it's been kind of challenging. We've had to shift the police department admin staff to the council chambers and then a lot of the finance staff.
It's the secondary to the police department, the same drain, what, sacked up or
It was-
different drain?
It was a different drain. So this was a drain. We can go to the next picture, I think. So this one, it shoots out and goes underground. And so you can kind of see the PVC pipe there. We can go to the next picture. So that's what plugged up that one. This one, we had to call JF Denny, dig it up, and pull that out of the drain. So that is what caused the leaks on the PD side.
It got clogged on the bottom side, not the top side.
Yes,
Outside.
the first one was the top side, this one was inside.
Is that because of its tree root?
We think it was roots and debris, yeah.
Because when I was out there, JFD said the tree root actually broke PVC joint.
Yeah, and I guess, that's another thing to bring up too. Close, if you want to go backwards one, Ken, close to that, there is a beautiful pine tree or something like that. There is that recommendation to take that tree down so we don't have this again. And I think we're kind of leaning toward doing that. However, I mean, it's probably a 30-year-old tree right next to the building. So I mean,
That's the one we used to use in our Christmas tree.
that could be, yeah.
It's the one right there at the front of the police. Front of the
It's the
police.
southwest corner of the city hall.
This one is on the north side, so right by
North
the
it is.
police department.
Northeast. corner.
Yeah, right by the police department entrance. So we're looking at cutting down that tree so we don't have an issue like that again. So next slide. So this is where we're at now. This is the community center. Stuff like this is why we are trying not to rent it out right now. If there's a city function with city staff there, small gathering, we can throw a few tables down there because it is dry now. But generally, we're trying not to rent it out to citizens.
So this picture here, you and I think Tish went down. So those dark spots indicate that that's leaked before.
I know, talking to some of our staff who's been here 10, 20, 25 years, they certainly made it sound like the community center would occasionally flood with really heavy rains. We never ripped off the drywall, so we never knew how bad it
No,
was.
I get why
But
you didn't see it,
But yeah,
but it's just an indication that this has happened before, just not to this extent.
Are they gonna have to replace the metal work there? Because you can see at the bottom it's rusting.
that I can double check. I don't think that's part of the bid.
It's a little bit of it, shouldn't it?
Yeah, and maybe they can wipe it off or do some type of metal scrubber thing. I know the other thing that we looked at too, we asked the guy specifically, like, is that mold kind of in the middle there? Is that mold? And he was pretty adamant that it's not. So I guess he was telling us like mold needs something to grow. It needs an organism to kind of latch onto. And since it was just bare concrete there, he said that was not.
Now, this is the northwest side of the community center, right? It's more or less in the middle.
It's in the middle area, right by the,
West side.
East side.
East.
yeah, I'm getting my spots mixed up, but it's right next to the party.
You walk into the community center, that wall is straight away from this.
Yeah, it's on the opposite side of the doors, yeah.
You're correct.
Right by that middle partition.
Do we know why it's leaking down there? I mean, that's in the basement.
You know, no, other than water was really pooling, especially that second time. I mean, it looked like an ice skating rink.
Okay,
That
so
second
my
time.
question is going through the wall of the first floor, and going into the basement, we didn't ever do it?
Are you talking about like years and years ago? I'm not sure if we ever had major flooding on the main floor. Do you remember, Chief?
Never on the main floor. That wall down there, when that started happening, it started ponding up. They came in, they put in a drain system around the front side of the water inside the building. So, the rainstorm we had 6 weeks ago, it all just came through the roof, came through the ceiling into the roof. And part of that may have come down, but that much rain, it could have very well overloaded the whole system. Just don't know. This has been, that in the past, there's been heavy enough rain where you go downstairs and there, where we pull the water, and you have to sit there and suck it all out and dry it out, go from there. So we've never pulled that wall down.
What are we doing to make sure it doesn't happen again? Are we going to put sump pumps up there? So if there's too much, be shakes of sump pumps?
As far as the basement,
It's all coming to the roof, but
yeah, well, I know on the roof, so we trimmed back the one tree that's kind of by mine and the mayor's parking spots. So like we scalped that one pretty good. So there's a lot fewer limbs and leaves on that one. And then, yeah, like I said, on the police side, we're looking at cutting down that big tree, so there's no more root issues. I know, you know, like I said, Jim would go up there every few weeks to kind of look at it to make sure it was cleared. I think he's going to start going up there more often. But again, it was kind of a fluky deal, like Chief had said. We've been in this building for 30 years, and to our knowledge, we've never had a water incidents like that. But so I guess I'll say that's what we did to kind of make sure it doesn't happen again. Trimmed back one tree pretty significantly. We're going to cut down another, and we're going to inspect the drains.
Well, no, but the first thing is, you and I talked earlier, and I think Mike Spickelmeyer was in on where you see some flat roofs that have like openings
Yeah.
cut in them.
Yeah.
So it's another way for the water to access.
Yeah, and that's one of the later slides that maybe Ken, if you're able to go maybe 6 or 7 back.
Oh, back.
Or forward, forward. So if you stop right there. So it's kind of like a rubberized roof, but the challenge is you see that material goes upwards. Right. So I think there was concern when we were talking about it at the staff level that if we just drill a hole or knock out a couple of bricks, moisture can get in there and that could void the rest of the roof. So there was concern about that. So, and actually this is a good one to look at too. I think these are the roof vents that are lower than the overhang. So I think when water was getting really high, I think this is where it was coming in, these things, I think.
So I guess that's part of it, because I saw some confused looks on there when you say the roof is fine, but yet it flooded.
All right, so I mean, can those roof vents, can you extend those up to the roof line?
You can talk to someone.
I mean, if they're higher than the drain,
Yeah.
I don't see how that would go in next time.
Or you might want to get an engineer's estimate. If it goes too high and you get too much water on there, you're putting a lot of weight on that roof. So you might just want to get signed off that way, or you just extend in case something like that happened again.
I just mean the vents that the water, once it pulled, it went down and then.
No, I understand that. So if you extend it upwards, now it's going to let that water go up until it gets over the edge of the building. So somebody just need to do a calculation to make sure that we can hold that weight if we're to do something.
But these are,
Is that gonna relate to
these are vents.
classes?
Not sure the original design was any good, but yeah, I'll listen to somebody else.
Well, we can
The
talk.
design was that good, it wouldn't flood. I mean, it operated like it's supposed to.
And we can talk to the company that installed the roof. We still have all their contact information. When we notified them about this, they came out within a week or so. So we can ask them if that can be raised. Yeah.
Yeah, or just any kind of mitigation strategy for the next.
Yep.
I mean, there's a chance that the roofing company can put a penetration in that wall and then
It,
recode it and
Yeah.
still keep the warranty.
No,
if they
that's-
do the work.
and that's a good point too. If they're the ones who, I forget the terminology used, but if they're the ones who drill that hole, maybe that would save the work.
Just on a backup thing, I think, might be worth looking into.
Yeah. Right. Well, Ken, if you want to go back to the slide we were at before. And then one more forward. So this is the council chambers, and actually, you know, this picture kind of doesn't do it justice. But if you look closely, if you kind of squint a little bit, you can see the water line that goes like halfway into that building. So it's actually a little bit, yeah, it's actually a little bit worse than it was the day of the damage. So. Next slide. So this is the police side. Generally, a lot of the drywall was salvageable. So those of you guys who have been in City Hall have noticed like they took out the baseboards and drilled little holes to get moisture out of there. And so they shot the fans in there. They had these big dehumidifiers there. So generally, we're thankful most of the drywall is salvageable. There is a little bit of drywall in the police department that is not salvageable. And then also in the police department and the City Hall side, we're looking at kind of switching up the entrances. Ken, if you want to go to the next one. So what we're looking at here, you know, you guys know this area right here, in a way, it's kind of just wasted space. So we're looking at doing 2 windows right here, one for the city clerk's office and one for utility billing. So the door would remain, but there would be 2 windows there. So it would give us a little bit more space for our staff and make it a little bit more open. Next slide. So that's just what the utility billing area looks like now. And then, yeah, this is the roof today. Slide. So that's the presentation. Regarding the bids, Mayor, I think you had said it, Ronco Construction bid it as kind of a general contractor. In a lot of ways, staff was talking, there could be a lot of value in that. However, with the difference in cost being pretty substantial, you know, we did feel like going with Seifert's, Intex, JF Denny, and Maisels would be a better option. It'd save us $40,000 or $50,000. It would be a fair amount more work for staff. So our maintenance guy, Jim, will have a little bit more work. We might be picking Dan Stady's brain, our building inspector, so it might be a little bit more work for him. But again, with that difference in cost, that's why we kind of lean toward going with Seifert's, Intex, Denny's, and Maisels.
So not going with the general contractor at all, is what you're saying.
Correct. So the general was 160, and then all of the other ones were around 110 a month.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So yeah, it's a savings of about $50,000, but again, it's a lot more work for staff.
We got the expertise in house.
Tim, we're relatively sure that if we invest $110,000, that we're not gonna have another problem a month from now when we get more rain. I just don't want to, you know, spend $110,000 and then have it happen again in a month. We need to fix the root problem before we spend the money on getting repaired, unless we know for sure that this isn't gonna happen again.
Well, 2 root problems. One was a root problem, which they pulled out, right? And we're gonna fix that pipe, right? So the other one was the water pulling and going through the vent, basically because our drain was full. So getting on there every week, ensuring that's all cleaned out, I think is a remedy for that. So I mean, I think we have at least a plan in place, so it doesn't happen again. But point well taken. I think Tim's got the plan.
And we can try to get bids also for raising up those vents too. And you know, if that's reasonable, or if they could give us a bid for adding an overflow hole or something like that, that would be great too. So we can certainly do those things also. That's not part of this bid package. And again, the other thing that I would say too, kind of a fluky deal, didn't happen for 30 years. You know, Steve has been a police officer since this place was built, and he was saying he's never seen this happen.
You just called me names.
I thought you would have told me that, right? So I mean, it was just kind of challenging weather that caused a lot of that. But I hear your point, and I'll talk to that roofing company.
If we get itemized bids from Swan and Texas.
Yeah. Theirs are not as itemized as like Denny's was.
You know, why was there such a difference? Was it just one area or?
That I don't know, but I will tell you, because I noticed the same thing. If you look at page 21 in the packet. So Ronco Construction was going to use a company called Impact. Their bid was 27.6, so kind of in the middle of the two, I would say. But yeah, I don't know why.
Swan's book that.
This one, I've never heard of Intex, so never used it before.
So Intext, they're in Holiday Plaza in Lansing, kind of by the post office. So that's where they're.
Anybody heard of them?
I know they paint houses and stuff like
Like
that.
painted my house.
Yeah, they painted my house too.
Yeah.
Yeah, local company.
The insurance is still continuing to solve it.
Yeah, and that kind of goes back to one of the things somebody had mentioned earlier. I think if there was major hail damage on the roof, or a big crack in the wall, or a big tear in the roof, or something like that, I think they would have approved it. But I think there's some contingency in our insurance plan that says like the shell of the building needs to have some type of damage before they'll cover the interior. So it is being protested by our insurance broker, but I can also tell you the city's trying to do due diligence and talking to other insurance experts also.
Anything else?
So, since we're having to go through all the trouble of pre-carpet and hanging walls, have we looked at anything we need to do while all the sheetrock is down and the carpet's up? Any wiring or anything like that that might need to be done for electronic system or anything like that? I don't know. I was just thinking about that.
No, that's a good point. Wiring hasn't come up. Is it?
It has somewhat,
Okay.
they were talking about adding or in like council chambers, more outlets and plugs and things like that in council chambers and a couple other rooms.
Okay. Would Denny's do that then?
Or
Or we would talk to them
the
about that?
gentleman that's doing wiring in, it would just,
I was just thinking about that.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Anybody? All right, we have a motion and a second to call roll.
Mr. Clement,
Oh, no.
I'm sorry, he's telling me I can't speak.
Call roll.
okay, Mr. Clement,
Yes.
Mr. Sedeka,
Yes.
Mr. Gardner,
Yes.
Mr. Kirby,
Yes.
Mr. Kowalski,
Yes.
Mr. Garvey,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson.
Yes.
All right, motion passed. Did you want to vote?
Well, no, I didn't want to vote. I just wanted to ask, do we have open bidding on these jobs? I'm very glad to see that we're using local. As a member of the chamber for many years, I'm so glad we're using local. But did we have open bidding?
Yeah, I think we called a bunch of local companies and reached out.
Nobody calls you back anymore.
I know there was one that told us he needed more time. It's kind of like, it's already been a month, you know, so that company never got their bid, and I think that one was within 20 or 30 minutes, like local-ish. But it was more us calling contractors, and I guess that's, you know, another another thing that's interesting too, sewer projects, when you have a professional engineer and a set of plans that are this thick, they put this on a website that contractors all over can see and all over can bid on. This, you know, we don't have an architect for this because it's kind of more just improving what was there. So it was a lot of
Like a home improvement project.
kind of, you know, if it was building a new city hall or something like that, again, you'd have a packet of papers this thick and probably bidders come all over. But this was a lot of phone calls. Hey, can you come and look at this? Give us a quote.
All right, we're done. Need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second to adjourn. Call the roll.
Mr. Clement?
Yes.
Mr. Sonic?
Yes.
Mr. Gardner?
Yes.
Mr. Kirby?
Yes.
Mr. Pawlowski?
Yes.
Mr. Garvey?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
We are adjourned.